Have you ever looked at a simp and said, I wonder what he would look like as an anime character? Well, here he is, folks. Hailing from North Blue, this man is a former prince, a current pirate, and an excellent chef. Basically every quality that a woman would want, but for some reason he doesn't get laid. Maybe it's not his fate to get laid because he may show his love for a woman, but his true passion lies in finding all blue. What is all blue, you ask? It is where East, West, North, and South Blue meet, along with their wildlife, making it a mythical chef's paradise. Now you might be wondering why we're taking the time to analyze this particular character, since I did make a video before saying that I like Zoro better than Sanji. Well, trust me when I say there's more to Sanji than just his flirting, high kicks, and occasional squabbles with Zoro. And just because I say I like one character better than the other, that does not mean I hate the other character. I like Zoro better, sure, but I also like Sanji. He's either the perfect example of a modern day gentleman, or a simp, depending on how you look at things, but he's also connected to One Piece's greatest controversy in the media. And I also believe he's part of the solution to that problem. Watch until the end to find out what it is. Like I previously mentioned, Sanji is a former prince of the Germa Kingdom, which hails from North Blue. He's the third son of Windsmoke Judge and was considered a failure because he was the only one of the 4 sons that was able to retain his emotions and was unable to be modified into a cyborg at birth. After suffering under his brothers for a long time, he ran away from home with his sister's help. After bouncing around in different restaurants in East Blue, he's saved by a pirate known as Redleg Zeph after they both are caught in a terrible storm. Under Zeph's guidance, Sanji honed his culinary skills and developed his own unique combat style known as the Black Leg style. After Luffy comes to Barati, the floating restaurant he was working at, stuff happens and Luffy makes Sanji join the crew, and the rest, as they say, is history. So why is Sanji so relatable to guys in this age where every other Instagram reel talks about Top G Andrew Tate? Now I've called him a simp in some way or the other 3 times already in this video, but I do think there are some aspects of his flirting that we would all love to have. Despite the narrative that you should constantly work on improving yourself and only focus on work because money doesn't betray you and all that stuff, I think it's a good thing that you promote hard work and believing in yourself, but I also think most guys want to be sensitive from time to time, want to be goofy from time to time, and when it comes to flirting, I do want to say corny lines, but I don't, because I'm afraid that people will laugh at me, or that she would say you're not hot enough to say shit like that, or any number of my insecurities coming back to haunt me about how I don't have the right to go over and talk to another human being. But then I look at Sanji and think, damn, that man knows people are laughing at him about how he's a constant failure at flirting, and yet he doesn't let up. There's a certain tenacity that I would love to have that he has. Let's go back to the wedding on Whole Cake Island. First, he's blackmailed by Yonko and his family, who he has disowned, to marry a random person for political purposes. And then he finds out his bride is actually trying to kill him and the rest of his family. And finally, he becomes part of a big ass conspiracy to kill a Yonko in her territory and escape from her private army. With all of this shit going through his head, when he lifts the veil off the bride that is trying to kill him, he can't help but say that she looks beautiful. Dude, I would shit my pants just saying that in a regular day-to-day conversation. But this man says it standing among a million people trying to kill his ass. Be honest, would you not like to have that level of courage? This goes back to the Zoro video, and I talk about how these guys never go against their convictions. They may seem like the easygoing guys at first glance, but they keep it real whenever the shit hits the fan. A really old example of this is when he is the first to point out that the crew Laboon is waiting for is most likely dead. It may seem silly, irrelevant, and maybe even obvious now, but it was a big step to show that he keeps it real. Another example was when he agreed with Zoro that Usopp has to apologize before he's let back on the crew. Sanji is proof that being realistic is not equal to not being idealistic, and you know shit really went wrong when Sanji agrees with Zoro. I've always looked up to Zoro and wanted to be like him because I find that level of dedication to a craft inspiring. But as I've gotten older, I've realized I am and want to be more like Sanji than Zoro. Don't get me wrong, I still like Zoro over Sanji, I'm not changing my stance in this video. But he's hardened to make the tough decisions, but when he talks about all blue, his face lights up like a 5-year-old who just entered a candy store, and is able to have goofy moments with others in the group. He's proof that having a specific goal does not involve becoming antisocial. Sure, every goal requires sacrifice and hard work, but that does not mean you need to abandon the lighter side of your life. The The biggest genuine concern I hear regarding One Piece and its story is that all women are essentially drawn the same way. That, along with whitewashing Nico Robin and making LGBTQ people look like a bunch of weirdos in the earlier episodes. First, the LGBTQ thing. Oda did draw these characters in quite a unique way, but those were different times, and even then, they weren't characters drawn solely to be made fun of. Mr. 2 is one of the side characters that I loved watching, whether it was during the Alabasta or Impel Down arc. And when he sacrificed himself at the end of Impel Down, that almost made me cry. I wasn't thinking about his gender at all. It was just a really good character who sacrificed himself for his friends. Ivankov's secretary Inazuma is also gay, but you don't even remember that in the couple of scenes he/she is in. Even Ivankov has her purpose. Is she ridiculous looking? Absolutely. But is she also a character that has depth and relevance in the story? Yes. And later on, after the time skip, we see characters like Morley, Yamato, and others whose gender is ambiguous, but that is not a factor in whether they are crucial characters or not. So what does Sanji have to do with all of this? One Piece is a very male-oriented show for most of it, but there are moments when women's feelings need to be shown, and if you notice, Sanji is a crucial part of every instance where women's emotions are at the forefront. Whether it's his mom emotion to keep him human, finding someone who finally accepts her third eye as beautiful, or going back to Nami or Vivi being emotional regarding their hometown. Every time a woman's emotion is in flux, this man is there to help, even going as far as to save Tashigi from Virgo. Overall, Sanji is a good blend of goofy, idealist, and yet focused on your goal. He has taught me that being goofy does not mean you're not capable of being mature, or that you're not ambitious in life. He has shown me that life is about timing and being with the right people. And for sticking with me to the end of the video, I'll let you in on a small tip. If you want to see the most underrated part of Sanji, watch him during the Alabasta arc. The dude turns into like the anime version of James Bond. Thanks for sticking around, see you in the next video.